Welcome to Tab Briefs, a weekly look at headlines from the world of faith for July 31st, 2020. I'm Tab Media Content Editor Carrie McWhorter, and here are some of the headlines that grabbed our attention this week. On Wednesday, a group of more than 300 female athletes sent a letter to the National Collegiate Athletic Association urging the organization to protect the integrity of women's sports by ensuring that only female athletes compete in them. The organization, called Save Women's Sports, includes current and former professional, Olympic, and collegiate female athletes. They sent their letter after activist groups called for the NCAA to boycott Idaho for passing the Fairness in Women's Sports Act. The Idaho law went into effect this month and essentially says that biological males, even if they identify their gender as women, are not allowed to participate on women's sports teams. Critics call the law an anti-transgender bill, but Save Women's Sports says the law protects the integrity of women's sports. The letter states, "Fairness for female athletes should not be a political or partisan issue. We athletes have diverse views on many topics, but stand united on this fact. Protecting the integrity of women's sports is pro-woman, pro-fairness, and consistent with the purpose and promise of Title IX." Beth Stelzer, founder of Save Women's Sports and a competitive powerlifter, wrote on her organization's website that you don't need to be especially political or religious to believe that women's sports should only be for adult biological females. Stelzer went on to say, "Common sense and science tell us that men and women are different. Because of those differences, girls and women deserve the opportunity to compete, bond, train, suffer, and enjoy victory without the presence of male bodies in their competitions or locker rooms." The letter asked the NCAA not to give in to bullying tactics and argues that the NCAA would send a chilling message to female athletes across the country about the NCAA's commitment to the integrity of women's sports if they were to succumb to activist calls to boycott Idaho. On Tuesday, more than 20 pro-life leaders called for the federal government to withdraw the abortion drug Mifepristone from the market because of its threat to women and unborn children. In the letter, the pro-life advocates urged the Food and Drug Administration to categorize the drug as an imminent hazard to the public health. On July 15th, a federal judge in Maryland ruled healthcare providers can temporarily mail Mifepristone to patients during the coronavirus pandemic, in opposition to the FDA's current requirement that the pill may only be dispensed in a medical setting, such as a hospital or clinic. In the letter, pro-life advocates assert that Mifepristone poses a 4 times higher risk of complication than first trimester surgical abortion, citing information from the American Association of Pro-Life Obstetricians and Gynecologists. At the end of 2018, the FDA reported 24 deaths, more than 1,000 hospitalizations, and nearly 4,200 adverse event cases coming from women who had taken Mifepristone for an abortion since 2000, the year the drug was first authorized for use in the United States. In the letter, the pro-lifers asserted that adverse events are underreported to the FDA, and women who suffer harmful side effects are likely to seek care at emergency rooms, not the abortion facilities where they receive the pills. Emergency rooms are not required to report such effects, so the true number of adverse events is impossible to assess, the pro-life advocates said. And finally, in the wake of another destructive fire at a cathedral in France, a watchdog group is sounding the alarm on the rise of anti-Christian acts in the country. A fire last week inside the Cathedral of St. Peter and St. Paul in Nantes, France, is yet another sign to French Catholics that their religion is in danger. A volunteer who worked at the cathedral confessed on July 26 to setting the fire that damaged stained glass windows of the historic Gothic church. The fire came only 15 months after an accidental blaze destroyed the vault and spire of the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris during Holy Week. Attacks on Christians have been on the rise in France in recent years. A Vienna-based watchdog group called the Observatory on Intolerance and Discrimination Against Christians in Europe told the Christian Post that anti-Christian acts in France have risen from 275 reported in 2008 to a little over 1,000 per year in 2018 and 2019. According to data released annually by the French Ministry of the Interior, there were 1,052 anti-Christian hate crimes in France in 2019, which is almost twice the number of cases of anti-Semitism and 10 times the number of anti-Muslim acts. About 2/3 of the French population claims to be Christian, and they're predominantly Roman Catholic. However, only about 5% of Catholic and Protestant Christians in France regularly attend Mass or church, which is why most consider the country a secular country. Those are your tab briefs for July 31st, 2020. Want to have the latest headlines delivered straight to your mailbox each week? Go to tabonline.org and sign up for Tab Highlights. All we need is your name and email, and you'll get a free email newsletter on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, alerting you to some of the latest faith-based headlines. We hope you'll do that today. Thanks for joining us for Tab Briefs, and we'll see you all again next week.